So here's your latest George Zimmerman update. He stays in the news. It's like he'll disappear, for a couple of months or so, but of course he's back in the news again with this whole alleged assault thing. Somebody allegedly punched George Zimmerman, and the 911 call was released, and I could not post that up on YouTube. But basically, where you can hear it. Of course, I reblogged it from TMZ along with this story. Now, the TMZ story is titled George Zimmerman, I'm pressing charges. Puncher called me N-word lover. And we all know that George Zimmerman is not an N-word lover. Story goes on to say, George Zimmerman says the guy who punched him was pissed. He explained the way the Trayvon Martin shooting as self-defense. And he says the puncher was far from supportive of the black community. Zimmerman claims the puncher, a white man identified only as Eddie, and his friends recognized him. He says one of Eddie's friends asked him to prove he was, quote, that guy. Zimmerman says he took out a keyword says. Remember, we're talking about George Zimmerman's word here. Zimmerman says he took out his driver's license and also told the group he shot Trayvon in self-defense. According to Zimmerman, that pissed off Eddie, who then said, quote, you better get the fuck out of here, you N-word lover. You ain't welcome around here. Moments later, Zimmerman says Eddie punched him in the face. Zimmerman explained all of this to the 911 operator he called after the alleged punch. You can hear it in his voice. He desperately wanted police to show up and arrest Eddie and his crew. We know it's bizarre. Why in the world would anyone consider George Zimmerman, of all people, a fan of the black community? Zimmerman tells TMZ he thinks it's because he used the words, quote, self-defense to describe the Trayvon shooting. In other words, he thinks Eddie wanted him to be more proud of shooting a black kid. He says he intends to press charges against the alleged puncher and his friends. Eddie had fled the restaurant by the time police arrived. Officers spoke to several witnesses who all had different versions of what went down. Zimmerman is the only one who mentioned the N-word exchange. And you know what? That's probably because this son of a bitch was lying. But thank you, TMZ, for that very interesting information. We all know that George Zimmerman is the thug who cried thug as opposed to the boy who cried wolf. He's a thug who claims that other people were thugs. He's a liar. He's a pathological liar, a habitual liar. He's a snake. He's a deceitful son of a bitch. He's a violent, crazy, damn psychopath and sociopath, and he's out there just doing God knows what. I really wouldn't be surprised if he's harmed other people and we just don't know about it yet. They probably need to go to wherever he lives and start digging up the ground. Just my personal opinion. I'm allowed to have an opinion. But yeah, man, this is really insane because dude was acting like he had to lay low because black people were going to get him. He stayed, he's gone back and forth to other states, but basically he's been in Florida a lot since he got away with that murder. So here he is still in Florida with stuff like this popping off, and now it's once again a white person. Just like the last time he was in the news, it was for the whole, what was it, the guy shot at him or something? Like some road rage stuff, and it was a white dude that time too, right? You gotta ask yourself, man, if he's allegedly attacking his family, his in-laws, his girlfriend's father or whatever, and his girlfriend, doing all types of different things, man, all types of accusations swarming around, and these are white folks. And these are people who are actually close to him. And then he's getting into it with strangers. He can't he can't drive down the street without something popping off. Or, like when he was out, what was it, at a restaurant? And this situation happened. Then there was that time that he was pulled over by the police, and that was caught on, I think it was dash cam, and it was, talked about in the news. That became a news story as well. It's like, man, look, George Zimmerman is a magnet for trouble. In all honesty, I'm just waiting around to hear the news that either he died or went back to jail again. He's always getting into something, and it can't be everybody else. You got to think about it like this. He's already proven himself to be a liar. He's been to jail multiple times. He has 6 mugshots minimum. The 7th mugshot will probably be a picture from the coroner. There is the very high possibility that George Zimmerman is going to get into it with the police one time where, they're not going to have his back and he'll probably die in a shootout with the police. I really would not be surprised if that happens. It's just kind of like the countdown to George Zimmerman's death. And I would say it's going to be this year or next year. I mean, it's like negative energy is just all around him. And it was around him before he killed Trayvon Martin. Because if you go back, you look at his mugshots from before the Trayvon Martin murder. Yeah, if you just look at his eyes, you can tell that something was not right. He's an evil SOB. And, I'm not wishing anything bad upon him. I don't want anything bad coming back to me. I'm just saying, though, I would have to say that George Zimmerman is worse than Hitler. Just my personal opinion. But anyways, let me know what you think about it all below. Is George Zimmerman an N-word lover or not? Let me know what you think about it all below. Be sure to subscribe to the Meat Magazine YouTube channels. Visit meatmagazine.blogspot.com for more. Follow me on Twitter at Meat Magazine.